welcome back. If you're new, hello, my name is Volsu. If you're just coming back, hi. Yeah, I know, okay, first of all, I want to thank everyone for the 100 views on the last video. That lets me know that you guys like what I'm doing, hopefully. Sorry for the long wait. I've had assessments and stuff, but I'm back now. But again, I can't promise to upload weekly. I'll try, maybe upload maybe a short snippet or something. But it's nice, that people thanks for it's nice that people shared it and have told me that they like it. But yeah, I'm gonna get straight into it. So we're gonna be talking about JIBARO, which is one of, if not my favorite episode of all time. I know I guess I mean Zima Blue is great, but JIBARO is on another level. Now the animator, Alberto Miguel, he and his team actually also did other episodes as well. I mean the first season as well. I'm not sure if they did any in the second season. I'm not too sure, but either way, his work is phenomenal. I feel like I'm not doing him any justice. I think you guys need to just check out his own work and also watch the season of Love, Death and Robots. So to get straight into it, so JIBARO is essentially a story about sort of the Spanish conquest, and you have it's sort of colonization really, and you've got the Spanish knights and I guess the Catholic priests, and our main protagonist is actually a deaf knight, so he can't hear shit. And the story is sort of, I mean, in Alberto's words, Miguel himself, he said that it's sort of a toxic relationship in a way, which I see, but it's essentially sort of they go to find this treasure or this land. I guess it's some sort of myth about how there's treasures and riches, and you hear a lot of stories about travelers and how they go to a certain land and there's all this treasure and stuff. And the Spanish conquest, the knights and the priesthood, they're going, and just as they're sort of, I guess they're talking, they're gathering and stuff, setting up their camp, you see this siren rise above the water, and you just you just see her eyes, and it's so, just already, I mean the work, the art, the attention to detail in this entire episode, honestly, for me, is what makes it so beautiful and eccentric, because you can just feel the breeze of the wind of the nature, the forest that they're in. And as everyone's sort of getting their stuff up, she rises up from the water. By the way, they're near a lake, and I guess they have a map to show where the treasure is meant to be. She rises up, and immediately she's a siren, because she starts sort of screaming, singing this type of song. And you see all the knights are now going hectic, they're going berserk and they're running, and you see some of them even just hitting each other off because of, I guess, the hypnotic sound that she has. And also, sorry, she's decked out in gold. I mean, again, shout out to the team, the artists and the animators, because really, it's, what I'm saying isn't enough words to really put into how beautiful and stunning she is. And while she's singing this song and she's dancing, I mean, you can tell she's enjoying it. I mean, I would too, really. I'm joking. But while she's doing this dance, while she's singing towards them, they're all sort of going to their death. Everyone except, of course, the deaf knight, because he can't hear, so he can't be enchanted with this spell. And as everyone else is sort of been nicked off, she looks at him, and she tries again, nothing's working. He's confused because he's just seen my man just off the next guy, and she's thinking, huh? She's trying again, and you see she's a bit taken aback, thinking, what's wrong with me? And she gets back into the water. He eventually finds camp somewhere else, and whilst he's sleeping, sis, the siren, she comes back, and she's trying to figure out, like, okay, what's up with this guy? And she sort of just, personally, I mean, every shot in this episode is stunning, but I just love this shot because, fun fact, my profile picture is actually a still from this scene in particular, because of just how I feel like the animators, they just like, oh, like, you were impressed before, we're gonna show you again this time. And you see how, like, just like, oh, like how she's shining off. It's on, like, it looks real, guys. Like, I don't know how. It's like, you see my bangles here, yeah, like, oh, and really, like, this entire episode is literally my entire identity. I'm not even gonna front, because, like, you see she's got all this jewelry all over her and everything, and it's like reflecting, literally it's reflecting off, and you're thinking, okay. And while she's trying to suss him out and everything, sis ends up falling asleep, because she's tired. And she wakes up, and as she wakes up, so, well, the deaf man, the deaf knight, he wakes up, he notices her, she notices him, and they're just both staring. And again, like, it's so intoxicating. They both stare at each other, and as she's about to run away, he grabs her and he cuts himself. And you can say, because of, like, her magical powers, he kind of is semi-infected by it, and now he's again intrigued, and he goes looking for her. And this is the scene again, I know I keep saying it, but this is like, each and every scene has a reason, because now, as he's running after her, she's now, oh god, this is my time to shine. And she's getting happy, you can tell, sis is smiling, she's laughing. And she gets to the waterfall. Now, as they're running throughout the forest, they come to a waterfall that she's now on. And of course, it's very dangerous, though. But he's a knight, he comes, and as he's walking, she just, like, this hypnotic ass dance. Like that shit had me hot, man. Like, really, it was so, oh, far out. I can't find the right word for it, but I mean, I guess what Alberto said about, like, a toxic relationship, how you can't get away from it, but it's so intriguing, and you want to go back to it, because while she's doing this dance, I guess she's seducing him in a way, and it's sort of like how she's now fighting for his attention, and he's kind of just he's sort of like laid back and, like, just letting her do a thing like that, like, really, because the entire time throughout the dance, towards the end, it's like, okay, this is clearly some sort of, like, toxic love. She kisses him, but then her teeth are like scissors, dude. Like, they're like sharp teeth. And by the way, like, her lips are like rubies. But then, because she's bit him in this blood, she's like licking the blood. She kisses him again and again, but then it gets a bit, he takes advantage of her and takes off all her jewelry. And then with the waterfall, now you see all, like, her blood, because obviously the jewelry is, like, part of her, like, it's literally embedded in her skin. He's taken it off her, and then there's, like, flashes, like, in and out, and now he's got a bag full of jewelry, and you realize that he was really just going after her to use her. There's, like, an entire waterfall that comes down, and it's very disturbing, because as the audience, I remember being a first time watcher, I was like, whoa, like, I thought this was just something for fun. I didn't realize that this is where we were going. Like, let's turn it down a bit. You see how her blood is now spreading across the entire, like, lake, and, like, just the water, like the streams of the rivers and stuff. He's obviously thirsty. He takes he's drinking the water that has her blood in it. He goes back to sleep, but then he wakes up with birds chirping, and he's thinking, like, he's scared as hell, because remember, he couldn't hear, he was deaf, And we soon find out that, I guess her blood had like healing powers, and he drinks it and now he can hear. And at first he's going berserk, he's going a bit crazy, and then he's like, oh wait, no, I can hear, and he's like happy. So whilst he's rejoicing, whilst he's like, yeah, 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 she's rising up from the lake now, and she's not rising up in like a hypnotic way, she's rising up like the Thriller Michael Jackson, like half dead type of way. And sis is not decked out, she's not dripped out anymore, she's not wearing her jewelry. She is, I wouldn't call her ugly, but she's not looking very appealing. And she's noticed this, that she's been taken advantage of. And now she is screaming her wails, but it's no longer like, oh, you look at me like it's like a cry of like help, sadness, anger, distraught, stress. And obviously now my man can hear, but it's almost as if like he's like fighting away from it, but he can't stop. Like he's literally, it's now like the dance again, but instead like he's now being forced to dance and he's now going to his death. And it just doesn't end on a good note, like at all. And you're left thinking, oh yeah, don't get in a toxic relationship, kids. But no, my own like observation from it was really like colonization and how it does not benefit anybody, because you've got the Spanish fleet coming to a land who knows where. And despite, the siren being the mystical being, you can look at that as being like the resources of the land. For example, Australian colonization, the indigenous community were basically considered animals, weren't even allowed birth certificates for a really long time. And many of their practices, such as like, the bushfires that happened in 2020, and how, because of like the genocide that was happening towards the indigenous community, those practices end up going extinct. And you can even see like with the land here, with the siren can represent like Mother Nature, and how because she's been used for her resources, the land is now not wasteful, but it's now broken, it's been torn apart, like what happened to her with her jewelry and everything being taken apart. You've got places in the Congo and countries in Africa for mining for gold. I know Zim, especially where I'm from, the situations that's happening when it comes to mining and how people are being exploited. And eventually the further they have to keep digging further down because of the gold that's being taken, and there's no like laws or precautions protecting these people. You can see him by like, taking advantage of her on the waterfall, ripping all the gold off her, is essentially what all these big corporations now are doing in Africa and other parts of the world where people are being oppressed. And really, even with him leading to his death, like we see, like it's no longer like the indigenous community. Like with the bushfires affected everyone, like white people and indigenous people. And you can see with like, the knight himself, like yes, he got the gold and he could have gone back home like, oh look at me, like, again, like I found the land, all that rubbish. But then I forgot the name of the law, when if it's not like, if it's not inhibited by like normal people, if they don't speak English, then it's your land to claim. And you can maybe see with him, that's sort of like how what had happened with him. He's taken the jewelry, like the resources from the land, because you can clearly tell that the siren was there to protect the land that she was on by seducing these men to their death. Because you end up seeing like when all these men are going down, like the first scene and the last scene, there's like tons of like armor. That's what people have really tried to be there. Like people have really tried to go on and completely failed. You can say even him leading up to his death is sort of like how the big corporations are also like, the further they dig, the less gold they could find and stuff. And just, it's a huge, I mean, you can interpret it in different ways as like a toxic relationship, but I mainly saw it as like colonization, and how it doesn't really affect any, like there's no such thing as like, oh, colonization made things better. In my personal opinion, no, it didn't, because you've got climate change happening, for example. Like the reason why climate change, if racism didn't exist, climate change possibly wouldn't exist either, because there's just all these elements with like all these factories being built in third world countries and it's affecting pollution and stuff. Like I remember this infamous picture from what's it called? Um, I think it was in Mumbai, in New Delhi, in India, and how you saw the difference of like the pandemic when people were working versus when people were not, and the air quality was like top notch. But really, that's all I had to say about JIBARO, the episode. There's so much I can go into, but I really recommend you watch this because it's not enough for me to put into words. Like again, like the entire team just killed it, man. I'm so jealous of anyone who gets to experience it the first time because, like I said, like this is like literally like the reason why I wear like necklaces and bangles and stuff is literally because of this episode and the siren herself. And I think she represents Mother Nature and how, you know, because of the abuse that she went through and like how we're abusing climate, like the world now. I mean, you know, people say that we're going towards a more like environment friendly, like eco friendly, but you know, again, you've got big corporations who are still abusing it, and you've got things like fast fashion now. And it's like, no, it's not even like normal people now, even like in big luxury houses, they're contributing to the fact. So yeah, that's all I really had to say. Thank you guys for sticking as long as you have. Again, I apologize for not uploading as much, but you know, I'm trying my best. I think I just uploaded a video recently of me just trying a different hairstyles. It was a short clip. But yeah, let me know down below what you think. If you maybe even comment what next other episode you want me to cover, because really Seema Blue and Jabara are like my top two episodes, honestly. Everything else I enjoy, but this really was like, this episode for me is like in my heart. But yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. I'm joking. Nah. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you. Bye.